Well, here we go. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 9th day of May, 2019. Well, if you haven't been here before, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. And if you have, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. I wanted to talk a little bit about my blog, Stepping Aside, for a moment. I noticed a while back I publish all of my books on Amazon, and so what Amazon does for authors who have a website and all of that is for bloggers, they allow you to become what's called an Amazon affiliate, and you can link to your own affiliate store, and it's not, and you populate it with whatever you want to put there. And basically what you're earning are advertising pennies. Basically, it's not very much that you get, but for people who don't want to have their blog or their website, filled with a bunch of ads and whatnot, which I don't and I never have, I just decided to go that route. And so I'll put links in there. And if you click on them, then, I might get a nickel or something out of it. But anyway, it just goes to defray, the cost to run the blog. And I'll just be honest with you, it doesn't cost me that much to run the blog. It really doesn't. I mean, it's not something that's prohibitive at all, even if I didn't do this. But I just thought, it would be kind of a cool thing to do and a way to just maybe get people, looking in some other directions as far as, educational stuff and then of course, as far as, herbalism and all of that and witchcraft. I was linking to those kinds of products and everything. And so what I'm doing, I called it a witch in store. And I used to have a little an icon on the left-hand side of the page where I have different stuff. In fact, I put this video there and all that. And anyhow, I took it out because for whatever reason it was no longer working. Now either Amazon sent me something saying, "Hey, we're not doing that anymore," and I missed it. I don't know. I get a lot of stuff in my inbox. In fact, I had to go through and just unsubscribe to just about everything just so I could find the important stuff. I'm sure you know how that works. Email is a good thing, but it's also a pain, isn't it? Especially if you get on people's mailing lists and things like that. So sometimes you miss things. And so I don't know what happened. And then I also an update to WordPress. That's the blog hosting thing I use. And so I don't know. It could have been that. Maybe I'm just missing something, in the link that goes to it. But anyway, until I figure that out, I've just been going through and I've been repopulating that page itself with links to a lot of the things that you would have found there anyway. So it won't be as vast because I have to put each one in and link to it. But right now I'm up to herbs and herb supplies and all of that. So I've put the herbs in, the bulk herbs, and now I'm into the supply section. I think I'm up to essential oils now. So, if you want to, when you go to the blog, you can go click on it. It's not ready yet, but I'll let you know. I may go ahead and just publish it every day so that at least some of it's up there. But for right now, it's just going to be a work in progress. And maybe for the next couple of days, or maybe this weekend, I'll go ahead and I'll put it up live. But I just want to get a little more stuff in there, just so people get an idea of what's going to be there. At least the categories, and then just a few things under each one. But there's a lot of bulk herbs up there right now, and the things that I use as an herbalist when I'm tincturing, when I'm the different types of funnels that I like, and the mortars and pestles I like, and things like that. So there's also going to be some jars and empty jars and tins and dropper bottles and things like that, and vials and stuff like that, links to all of that. And you can just click on it. I don't have prices on there because you just never know. They're going to change. And so I would rather people just click on it. They're basically the links are directly from Amazon's site. And so they should be pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to get, and if they're not, then I'm going to say something about it. So Anyhow, I'm probably going to keep the pictures to a minimum, maybe the book section, maybe I'll use pictures, and you can click on them to get to the book if you want. Um, so anyhow, that was all I wanted to say about that. I don't really know what happened to it, but and I get going if I'm writing a book, and I just published one, and so I get so involved, that I don't pay attention sometimes to other things, and so I have no idea how long that link has been broken, frankly. I mean, I think I kind of know because I go there periodically just to check it out and see that everything is still there, but basically something's up. So until I figure it out, I'm going to do it this way. With a whole lot of links to things. At least it's going to be, at least it's pretty self-explanatory. So you're not going to be wondering, oh, what the heck is she talking about here? Just click on it, go see it. You can see how much it costs. So if you need oat straw, a pound of oat straw, a pound of nettle, a pound of dandelion root, a pound of meadowsweet, whatever you're doing, you should be able to find it there. Anyhow, well, that's enough of that. Well, May is the 5th month of the year, so May is already about change. But today, the 9th, it's a 9 energy, and so that's one of completion. So maybe something's going to come to some kind of completion today. Now, Monday, the cards talked about change and loss and a new direction. And Tuesday, we were sort of going within to find justice and alignment and to know what really is the truth of things are. We've kind of been dealing with, awakening out of the illusion. Either we've been living under, I don't know. I'm reminded, I hate to use this example really, because I know it can be somewhat, controversial, but the title of it I think is interesting. And it was Al Gore's An Inconvenient Truth about climate change. So much of our lives are inconvenient or lived in inconvenient truths, aren't they? Maybe we're in relationships that we're struggling through. We're not really sure where those are going. Maybe we believe politically something, societal wise, social consciousness wise, that maybe just isn't true. We see the inconvenient truth of vaccinations, right? As we see measles, becoming prevalent. I mean, here, in Oregon, in Washington State, what the heck is going on? You had a Scientology cruise ship that I don't even know if they've been allowed to get off the boat yet, because one person, I guess, came down with measles or something. It may have been a crew member for all I know. I thought that might have been what I read. I just read little snippets of it though, But these are all little inconvenient truths that disease is out there. We sort of eradicated things and now it's coming back, and it seems to be because people aren't vaccinating because they're afraid of what the vaccinations are actually doing. And so we have a lot of inconvenient truth, don't we, that we have to deal with. And I think that that's what's been going on. Last year was an 11 year, and so it was all about illumination and really coming to grips with what's really going on and what the illusion has been. When you believe people that are lying to you and you don't know they're lying to you, and you honestly, you put your faith and trust in them. We've had to learn a lot of very inconvenient truths of late. And so I wonder, now that we're in this month of change and, this is a 3 year, we went from an 11 year to a 3 numerologically. And that's, mind, body, spirit in alignment. It's bringing things back into balance, almost alchemically so, balancing dark with light, mind, body, spirit, the past, present, and future of everything, reconciling all of it and manifesting something better. And so I have to wonder, yesterday was about We had the Page of Swords, and so we had a new message. We had the Ace of Cups, new emotional expression and love. Birkenau was the rune. We had abundance, the Queen of Pentacles. So, and not just in terms of financial security. When we understand that our greatest security is in unity with others, that's where we find our greatest level of security. So, whereas we think in terms of money and wealth and security and our foundation with Pentacles, what I think that we're missing is the foundation of one another, of having that level of unity in our lives. We don't have to always agree, and we're not going to, but we need to be going in essentially the same direction, of growth. And present, we're not. We're, at loggerheads and arguing, and it's just not a good thing. I think, was it Jeff Sessions yesterday called it squabbling? Well, it's a little worse than that. But Southern man that he is, it's their way of minimizing. I know half of my family was Southern, so it's just a way of minimizing things and making a point, but doing it in an understated way. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe he really just thinks it that way. I don't know. But in any event, we've been seeing this progression each week, sort of building on, the day before or the days before and then the week before and all of that. And I think that maybe we're doing the same here. So let's draw our first card and we'll see what we come up with. See if we build on the abundance from yesterday. As always, I'll take the 13th card. Well, I need to check this. Okay, so we drew the Hermit on Tuesday. I thought it was Tuesday. This was the alignment day. So here we have, again, 9. It's the 9th card of the Major Arcana. So it's a soul archetype card about completion, humanitarianism as well. But here we have, the druid, the master, the shaman, standing on the top of a mountain, aligned with spirit. You see the Merkaba, the shining Merkaba within his lantern. He's shining his light upon the world, his light of wisdom. The Hermit's about retreat, whereas the Hangman is about surrender. I mean, you can, in a way, you could also say the Hangman is about retreat. But it seems like every so often within the Major Arcana, what we're really doing is realigning in source presence. It's reminding us that, you know what? Yeah, you're here, but you're really spirit here. You're not the body, you're not the ego. You really need to be manifesting from the standpoint of spirit. And periodically, within the Major Arcana, you'll see that. You'll see us a return to that type of balance. You'll see it with temperance. You'll see it with even the star does the same thing. The Wheel of Fortune, the universe or the world card at the end. It's always a return to source, basically. And in the case of the Hermit, it's the source presence within. So if we're building on from last week, then the message and the new emotional expression has to begin in spirit, doesn't it? Let's draw another card. Almost dropped it, but I didn't. I made it land on my little table here. Well, we got another card of the Major Arcana. Oh my goodness. Well, it's the moon. Did we have that already this week? Yep. Same day as the Hermit. So are we going to do another Tuesday reading? Is that what this is going to be about? Alignment again? Again, the 18th card of the Major Arcana reduces to 9. So there's some synchronicity here. This is an important day. This can be the balance between dark and light, taking the middle road, rebirth, renewal. You see the pillars, a frequent theme in tarot. Talking about balance. So we got a 9 and a 9 and a 9 for the day. Interesting. Well, the 13th card, the Ace of Cups, which is what, yesterday? So here, again, it's the beginnings of our emotional presence. This is really fascinating because basically yesterday, well, I don't know because I didn't put that down, so I can't tell you that. This basically results again in new beginnings as a one energy. And that seems to be a theme, isn't it, of what we've been looking at lately? That we need a new direction. We need a new direction that balances, that brings everything back into balance. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean agreement. It just means balance, that we're not working at cross purposes with one another, that we're not working at cross purposes within the self. Sometimes if we're talking, I mean, let's just step back away from the societal implications of all of these readings, because there definitely are plenty to be made. If you're somebody, say you're someone who's passive aggressive or bipolar, or given to, because those are more extreme expressions of that, but say you're just given to living in opposites, trying to hold opposites as true, trying to reconcile it, it's impossible. And we all get there from time to time where we're really not in tune with what it is we really want. We're pulled in a lot of different directions. We want this, we want that. We seem to want opposite things. And all it's illustrating is that the truth is somewhere in the middle a lot of the time. I mean, it could also be that we're just simply not ready to make a decision about one thing or another. But when we see the hermit, we see a sage, a shaman, the wise man within, the one that goes to the quiet still point and aligns with who he truly is, aligning with the creator within, and expressing that truth, that alignment to the world. When we live in reaction, we can't do that. We're reacting to everything we see instead of stepping back and forming our own position about it and knowing what we know as the truth, you know. When we see separation and division manifested in life, when we see it manifested by ourselves toward others, it doesn't feel right. And we might, and the more it doesn't, the more self-righteous and the more justified we feel, isn't it? Isn't it true? Because we want to hang on to the sense of other, the sense of feeling special. I'm not like them. Problem is, we are all like one another. Now, we may never carry out certain things that others might, you know, that the real criminal people do. You know, we might not ever go out and become a serial killer, for example. But we also know what the implications of it are. We don't have to do it. We know it's a bad thing and we reject it, right? but there are other people that don't. And it's, again, an inconvenient truth about humanity. But it's only inconvenient because we've decided that it's so. We can all look at all of this in terms of healing. The moon is about healing the shadow side of self and reconciling it with spirit. It's about revelation and revealing secrets, revealing that which is hidden. You know, if you're somebody who's secretive, it doesn't work. It's one thing. You know, it's not saying that you shouldn't remain private about yourself. That's fine. But there's a difference between remaining private and being secretive. Doing things behind the scenes that nobody knows about until it's too late to stop them. Again, the hermit aligns in source presence and rejects all of that and says, no, we have to come back into unity with one another. Instead of seeing the other, see the other side of self. And then embrace all of that in the Ace of Cups, that new emotional experience of love and harmony and joy and contentment and abundance. It's the abundance of spirit. It's not the abundance of money. Although abundance of money certainly helps, but it's not everything. And if you don't have any love in your life, what good is it? You might be able to pay the bills, but that's all you're doing. So I think that that's interesting, but let's draw a rune. And then I think I'm going to do what I did yesterday and go ahead and throw the geomancy runes and see what I can come up with there, just to see. That was a really interesting thing yesterday. I don't know why I did it. I just grabbed them. I saw them here on the desk, and I just grabbed them, and I threw the 4 runes on the table here on the desk and came up with Vaya, which is a new direction. And it just occurred to me that maybe I need to start doing that every day and just add a geomancy, glyph or symbol to the mix and see what that does. Well, here we have Hagalaz, which is the 9th rune of the Elder Futhark. It's about change within a fixed framework. Destruction in preparation for change. It's often thought of as the witch rune because that's basically what witches do. They destroy things. They create change within a fixed structure. So it's like we're not just like leveling everything. We leave something behind to build from. It's like, okay, in other words, we eradicate the nonsense and leave the good that remains. The good remains standing. So that's kind of interesting. 3 9s and an ace. See, even if you add the 3 9s together, that's 27, which reduces to 9. So we have completion and the awareness of the humanitarian within. Coming full circle into the awareness of our source presence, of our true reality as the creator personified. Manifesting in love and joy. Finding our opportunities, our shared experiences there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the geomancy one. Now, I'll remind you, you can do these various ways. The idea is when you throw them, odd numbers result in a single dot, and even numbers result in a dual dot, so 2 dots. And so what I did, I have them on some like OM staves about yay long, but they don't, and one side is got 1 dot on it, the other side's got 2. But they don't lay right. So I decided to do runes. And so that's what I've done. So on one side I have, well, that's water, okay? Once on the single dot side I have the element because the elements matter, the order matters. The top, in other words, the top dot is going to be fire, And then the next one is air, represents air, the next one water, and the next one earth. And so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to throw them like dice, and I'm going to find, okay, there's air. Is that air? Yeah, that's air. I have to get them in the right order. Otherwise, I don't know. What's this one? That's a 2. Is that a 2? Yes. These are made from I think these are hawthorn. Anyway, that's water. So we'll put that under air. There's another 2, that's fire. Put that up top. Oh, and then there's earth. Okay, so this is what we ended up with, and I'm just going to draw it out here so you can see. Yesterday was Vaya. There's 16 geomantic glyphs or symbols, okay? And you'll find they have polar opposites. So there's really just 8, and then you have and then there are 2 they're like opposite from one another. So yesterday was Vaya, which was 4 dots, single dots. Today's Populus, which is the opposite of that. And it is 2 single dots, or 4 2. Well, anyway, here it is. That's Populus. And yesterday's, I'll show you what that one looked like. That was Vaya. You can see they're the opposite of one another. The Populus, the dual one, is a passive influence. Vaya, the single dot, is that's an active influence. And so whereas direction, a new direction was yesterday, here with Populus, what Populus is really telling us in a sense is to follow the crowd. You're going to reflect your surroundings, basically. And so if you're with a bunch of people that are hateful, then you're probably going to reflect that. And so we need to be very, very mindful of this when we're trying to balance dark and light. And in a sense, the physical, the appearance of Populus kind of looks like a balance of dark and light, right? Of active and passive influences, really. But the thing about Populus you have to remember is that you tend to go along with the crowd. You tend to go with the flow instead of, standing out and doing your own thing. Now, maybe that's what's needed. Maybe what it's also saying is unity with others. That's the other thing, going it alone versus unity with others. And so here we can relate Populus to the moon. In fact, it is related to the moon. Let me get my book out here, and I will tell you for sure. Yeah. So it's a moon a glyph. The moon is governs both Populus and Vaya. So it's about change and the water element. Now, Populus basically has a very neutral influence. It's receptive. It deals with the 4th house and family, structure of our life, security, indirect action versus direct action. So that's another thing, the difference between the two. Whereas Vaya is more about direct action, Populus is about indirect action. I was digging in the dirt earlier. I warned you, this is the way it's going to be. It's garden season. My hands are going to be a mess. They're going to be covered. My fingernails are going to be filthy. And there's only so much I can do about that. The life of an herbalist. Anyhow, that's really fascinating because in a sense, the hermit is expressing Populus, isn't he? Just in a passive, but yet there's strength in that. There's the quiet strength of the internal knowing, the internal balance. With an emphasis on new emotional expression. Well, that's just a crazy amount of synchronicity, isn't it? 9's a new beginning. That was also yesterday, I think. We've seen that a lot over the last 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm going to add geomancy to this. Let's do that. Let's just add a final geomantic rune to the reading. I think it's going to tie everything together or give us one last direction to go in. Anyway, well, cool. That's pretty interesting. Nines and then a one and new beginnings. That's very cool. The other thing about populace, it can also mean dropping resistance to love, dropping resistance to who we truly are, and just aligning in that wonderful, safe, and sacred space of source presence. Well, anyway, thank you so much for coming by. This has been great this week, hasn't it? Lots of interesting information that all just seems to be coming together and bringing us into that direction that we need to go of love and unity with others, of seeing the other side of self and blessing that experience for all that it can teach us, for all that it has to offer. Well, all right. We'll see you Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. It's Mother's Day, so I hope that you have a wonderful Mother's Day, and we'll see you Monday. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.